8:42. Coming up next, Bob Barnard talks about the dangers of mold, which has become it's always been a big problem, but with all the rain we've had this summer, a lot of people are dealing with it more than ever.
It's been a rainy summer, to say the very least. Week after week, heavy downpours and storms have hit the DMV.
Yeah, it's been a problem, no doubt about it. And you might think it's just an outside problem, but no, it's not. And not just in areas like this where it's really, really heavy flooding. Extra damp and rainy seasons can lead to big problems with mold inside. Bob Barnard this morning out on call with a mold removal specialist so that you know what you can do about your own risk for mold problems.
Well, guys, we're in the basement of a home here in Manassas, Virginia, and joining us is David Myrick. He is the founder of Valor Mold Removal. David, thanks for having us into this house, which has a mold issue. Is that right?
Absolutely, it does. I was brought in to take a look at the mold here in the corner, and we'll go ahead and take a look.
Here, go on in there, Don. Tell me, obviously you can see what's there. Is the question and the concern what you may not see that's there as well?
Well, absolutely. You know, the issue with mold is you always see the tip of the iceberg. So whatever you see on the front side, typically it's 3 or 4 times worse on the back side. And so, you know, tearing open that wall cavity, what gets people in trouble when they try to do this themselves is, you know, they open this up and they discover this giant mold farm in that wall cavity, and they realize they're in over their head very quickly.
Do you know how this mold grew here? You were mentioning to me off camera that there may be a gutter situation outside?
Correct. So the issue with this is, you know, what happens is water comes through the foundation wall and it saturates this drywall, and it gets into the insulation, and then it sits there for several weeks, and then the mold grows. Now, when you see it in the corner like this almost always is a gutter downspout issue where the gutter is dumping the water too close to the house. And, you know, the issue is with all the recent flooding, with all the recent rains we've had, you know, it's caused flooding in areas. And, you know, typically if you do 3 basic things where you clean the gutters, you make sure the gutter downspouts empty at least 10 feet out into the yard, and you make sure the grading of the house is positive so that way the water flows away, a lot of times that prevents quite a few issues these flooding issues occur. And so if you have a sump pump system, you want to make sure that sump pump is replaced every 5 years. If you have a basement drain system, you know, we have a walkout basement stairs, you want to make sure that drain is clear at the bottom of the stairs. I can't tell you how many remediations we've done over the years just because that drain is getting clogged up and that water comes through the basement door.
And what will you have to do here? Tear the wall, tear part of the drywall out of there and treat what's behind the wall?
Well, let me say one thing. When you say
we have machinery here to do it that helps you detect what's out there.
Absolutely, and this machine is called an Instascope, and it does instant mold testing. And what it does is basically it tells us how much mold's in the air. Now, one thing I'll say is we don't actually treat mold. When you treat mold, usually that means that we're using chemicals, and actually this blows most people's minds. But there's actually a book called the S520 Mold Remediation Standard, and this book is the Bible of our industry. And what it says is that we actually don't use chemicals in mold remediation, contrary to what most people believe.
And before we go, what do? You cut it out and get rid of it, basically?
Exactly. I mean, what we do is we build containment, we set up negative air pressure, so that way we control mold spores that's going to come off the surface of that mold colony, so that way they get sucked into our negative air machines, and then we cut out the drywall because we can't salvage it. Moldy drywall is too far gone. You can't salvage it. We'll strip the mold out of the framing behind it, and then we do a very, very thorough cleaning of the space.
All right, as we leave you, we'll take one last look at the mold here. Quickly, David, how much would a job like this potentially cost?
Anywhere from $1,000 to $2,500. It just depends on how much of the area is affected and how much cleaning we're going to have to do.
All right, there it is, guys. Mold. We've had a lot of rain. Take a look around. If you suspect it, go find it and get rid of it, guys.
Never a good thing. If you've had it, you know the frustration that comes along with it.